I don't believe in any, not, oh, what's the word, like a conventional dogma. I
Yeah,
don't think
same.
I don't think Christianity is true. I can't prove that it's false. And I read this really interesting book a couple years ago called "Everybody Is Wrong About God,"
Hmm.
and it talks about like the reasons why so many people do subscribe to those things, because we do have innate human needs to believe where we came from, to feel part of something, and to feel like we have a purpose. And so some people do get that from religion or being atheist or being part of a tennis club or whatever it is. And so it's just but then I also saw this guy on Joe Rogan. He was an astrophysicist and he's talking about the universe.
Hmm.
And he's like, the only reason that the word meaning exists is because we have the ability to imagine and create a word such as meaning. So even though we're
Mm.
on this tiny little pinpoint in the middle of the galaxy, and he refused to talk about that. Yeah, I used the word universe earlier, but he used the word galaxy. And he says, he's like, I don't even talk about outside of the galaxy because the galaxy is big enough. Like we're still figuring out stuff in here. There's plenty of stuff to work in. And he's like, because the host had asked him, like, do you believe there's other lives? He's like, it's likely true that we're the only life form in this galaxy. And he's like, there's maybe one, maybe two in any other galaxy. And so he's like, that's a pretty powerful thing when you think about it, that we create meaning,
Right.
us as individuals. And I think that you get to choose what to believe, you get to choose what to practice, and
Well,
just like any.
that's one thing that makes at least where we're at in this sort of rock on this big circle
Mhm.
rock. This little group of people that we were born into and participate with, right? We have this. People say, "What makes America great?" And to me, the answer is, well, the freedom of belief.
Mhm.
You're allowed to believe whatever you want here.
Yeah.
That's why people came here, was to escape persecution for their beliefs. People are like, I
Mhm.
just want to be able to believe whatever the fuck I believe without
Yeah.
dying.
Mm.
And that's kind of how we got here.
Yeah.
And that we're finding out, you know, we're finding out rapidly that that also means your freedom of disbelief,
Yep.
freedom to believe things in opposition to the verifiable facts.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's a lot of sort of, yeah, a lot of people sort of like parsing their way through that sort of reality. Like,
Mhm.
I have the freedom to say whatever I want right now,
Mhm.
whatever I want. And I also
Yeah,
think that's really empowering too in this moment.
it is. I think it's great. It is, free speech is something that's very interesting because there's a lot of people um, on the left, and I'm also like I'm mostly liberally leaning. Yet, I think that it's a slippery slope once you start telling people that they aren't allowed to say certain words because they're derogatory or hurtful towards other people. I do think that that's a very slippery slope. Do I think you should call people names that are derogatory and, extremely insensitive based on historical whatever? No, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that. But do I think you should have the right to do that? I do. Because I also think that it's very healthy for us as people who have the ability to think, that when those people call people those names, it's very easy to be like, well, thanks for showing yourself, and I'm no longer going to associate with you. Because I think that that's also a very powerful thing. Because if when you force people to shut that off, and they just go into hiding and they create something that you don't think that's there, and then I think it's much easier to track when you can see it and hear it, taste it, touch it, and feel it. So it's just yeah. And without those people saying those things that they may believe are true, there's nobody to give them any feedback on how to grow and be better. And so but again, that's one of those things. It's like a slider, and you can go too far to the left or too far to the right. And I encourage you, just like you were saying earlier, that if you do believe something, dig and dig and dig, find as much evidence for the truth about that as you can. And when you do find something that may put a chink in the armor of what you believe, then continue to dig into that too, and allow those beliefs to evolve. Because
Yeah.
holding on to the same belief for too long is also very caustic.